Good morning from Panhandle Outdoors with Winston Chester. Panhandle Outdoors, your source for fishing, hunting, and information for folks who enjoy the great outdoors. Now sit back, relax. It's Panhandle Outdoors.
Good morning, folks. Welcome to Panhandle Outdoors. I'm Winston Chester. Glad you're here this Friday morning. Getting ready for a big weekend. It's been a good, hard week at work. I know a lot of folks had I call this, I was talking about weather. I was laughing coming into work this morning. I'm going to start calling this a yo-yo weather report because it's been up and down all week. It was beautiful Wednesday, then freezing Thursday, then today. High is going to be 63 and low 49. And the water temperature is 56. Of course, it's brought to us by Haney Technical Center. Don't forget, today, they're having a job fair out there at Haney. And it's going to be, the time's going to be, from 9 o'clock to 1 o'clock. So you get a chance to drop by there and see what's going on out there. The Haney Job Fair is a yearly thing they do. It's good for our community, good for our Panhandle region, okay? Now, the river readings, that place called Bluntstown, take a look at it. You know, that's one of the opening gates, folks. I don't know if you know the folks up in Chattahoochee. I used to have one of my best friends' dad worked up there, and then I had an uncle worked at Jim Woodruff Dam, and they would just open that dam when they were told to, when the Army Corps of Engineers told them to, and this is the situation here. It's sort of it's a complicated process what's going on upriver and on Lake Seminole. They don't do it just because those fishermen, I promise you. In fact, it's usually just the opposite. We usually get aggravated at them. But anyway, right now, it's at a 9.3. It is dropping from last night. It got up to 11.5. I mean, they really had it open up there a day or two ago. All right, but it's dropping down for the weekend. It's a fast drop, too. Now, the Choctawhatchee, again, is pretty smooth right there. It's at an 8.3. It's got a slow rise to it. It should be a good weekend if this rain don't mess us up coming up. Our tides brought to us by Kent Forest Lawn Funeral Home and Cemetery, and their motto is when caring counts, and right here on 23rd Street. Good folks down there, good folks to deal with. Now, looking at today's tide, February the 7th, we're looking at a low tide at 6:12. I'm sorry, low tide's at 2:04. And then the high tide this afternoon at 3:28. And then tomorrow, Saturday's tide is going to be real strong too. And all next week's going to be really good tides for February. Now, again, all that's dependent upon the weather. Our marine forecast is northeast at 5 to 10. And it could be a really good day to get outside. Let's go and do our fish and game forecast. On Friday, I like to do it here at the top of the show because a lot of times I get into the fishing forecast and I forget to do it. So let's take a look at Mark Cowart's fishing times for today. Brought to us by Mark and Edgewater Beach Realty. And our time this morning, excellent time, we're looking at 6:12 to 8:12. And this evening from 6:37 to 8:37. All right, that's our time today. And check my website for the weekend times and all that. We always post that on there. I got on my phone. I made 2 calls this morning right before the show trying to get you some live reports from what's going on. I called Seaquarter down in Carabel. I always like to talk to them on Friday morning, see if they're getting ready and all. Obviously, they're getting ready because they didn't answer the phone. I couldn't get a hold of anybody down there. So, Miller, you guys need to call me back and let me know what's going on down there in eastern end down there. And then I called the Beach Pier and talked to Kerry, and I was going to talk to him live on the phone, but I said, Kerry, what's going on? He said, nothing. So he said, we thought Wednesday would be a good day with all that good weather, but he said they didn't catch anything. He said this past weekend, like on Saturday, they caught 2 redfish and 1 sheephead. That's not good. And that's not. We'll talk about that later on the fishing report, but it's gone. We're right on the verge of it starting to pick up pretty soon. We get a little bit of warm weather. He said the sheephead are there. They can look down and see those sheephead, but they're just not biting. And it could be 2 or 3 things. They might be in that pre-spawn stage, or they just flat out might not be hungry. But anyway, they're there. Okay. All right, let's wrap up that weather report. Let's get this break right now, and then we'll be right back. Welcome back to America's only daily outdoor TV show coming here from Fox 28. It's Panhandle Outdoors with Jeff Peck as director and producer and does everything for us right behind that camera. And I'm Winston Chester. I'm glad to be here. I'm so glad you watch it. We just have a unique situation here in Panhandle. We're going to talk about that a little bit later. But right now, let's look at some pictures, okay? Check out. We were talking about sheephead the other day. I was talking to my class about it. And listen, you'll appreciate this. During class, this girl in my class, Devin Wheeler, sent me a picture to my email to show me the sheephead she and her dad got. And this is in St. George Island Pass last weekend. There was sheephead there. That St. George Island Pass is a good place to catch some sheephead around all those rocks and all. But isn't that fascinating how they can send it to you? And I could actually put it on my iPad and show it to class while we're talking during the subject. So that's pretty neat to do. Next picture, Justin Leake. Justin really, excellent fly fisherman. And he got this Tuesday afternoon. Nice job, Justin. All right. One of the viewers talking about, I'm just going to show you this boat, and this time of year, people are cleaning the boats and everything, and this guy put bleach. He basically just bleached his boats. This was Jacob Parker. I'm talking about how clean it got. He just went to the dollar store and bought some bleach and just scrubbed it out really good. But look how clean and white that is. All right, my next picture, my favorite picture this year, and we've had some great quality pictures of some nice deer, but here's my favorite one this year. This is my little Whitney, and this is not up in Ohio or Colorado. This is in Troy, Alabama last week in that really, really cold weather. Bless her heart, she braved that weather, and she dropped that nice buck. But it's just a great picture. The sun setting, she and her dad spent a couple of days to close out the Alabama season up there outside of Troy. And her dad, now Whitney is out. She's out hunting her granddad and her dad this year, big time. She's got some nice deer, and we not done that well. But I was just tickled. That's just a great picture. That's one I'm gonna frame and hang up in our room there. Now this next picture I'm gonna show you. If it comes up, and listen, I want to congratulate all these football players all over the area and all over the Big Bend and the Panhandle. Had a lot of kids. Jeff, it makes you look better on this, you think? But anyway, I had to go back to a throwback to my day. This is Winston Chester signing a football scholarship to the University of Florida with my mom and dad. And you see the big crowd there. That's all. And the University of Florida guy right there, his name was Dave Fuller. He was a head baseball coach. And back in those days, the coaches spread out all over the state of Florida, and you had to sign with them. Now the coach is restricted by the NCAA. You can't be there, but in those days. But we didn't make a big show out of it because everybody thought that'd be bragging. So we just went to the local restaurant, Kittrell's Restaurant, on the west end of town, and signed up. My parents were very proud. My dad and Coach Fuller both passed away now, but that was a special day back in a long time ago. I've never shown that picture to anybody outside my family, but I wanted to share that with y'all because all these football players signed. They make a big to-do off of ESPN, and they all go crazy about it. But back when I was doing it, you didn't want to do that. That was bragging, and you didn't want to be a braggart, so you just signed it there. And right after that, some of you people may remember a guy named Jack Youngblood played for the Gators. And Jack and I were freshmen. We roomed together at the University of Florida. We became lifelong friends. I saw him this past summer. Jack went on to make All-American, but they signed me at 9:30 that morning and Quincy, and then drove down to Monticello about an hour later and signed Jack Youngblood. And it was a really special time in our lives. And Jack did real well. I'm going to see if I get Jack to come up here. He's a great outdoorsman, a great guy. He's in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And he's been here when I was coaching football at Mosley. I called him one time, and he was in Los Angeles. I said, Jack, listen, can you come speak at our banquet? And he said 2 words, never will forget. Now, he just made All-Pro. Now, here we're a little rinky-dink Mosley High School, and he's in Los Angeles and getting all these speaking engagements in Kansas City, New York. And I asked him on the phone, Jack, can you come speak to our boys? He said 2 words. He said, heck yeah, I'll be there. And then he came down. He said, make it during February because, I'm going to come down and quail hunt around Monticello and Thomasville. And he came over to Panama City, had his friend with him, was an All-Pro too, All-Pro center. So anyway, didn't want to diverge onto that, but I just wanted to talk about that. Anyway, and we were talking when we saw each other back in the early part of summer, how he lives in Orlando now, and we were talking about what a special, special place, because he's been all over the world and hunting. One time he had a hunting show and a fishing show, but we were talking about, again, what a special place the Panhandle, Florida is. And he said he wished he could live up here. He said he just misses it so much, but his business, he works for the NFL now, and he's sort of based out of Orlando because he's got to fly in and out all the time. But his roots are here, and he loves this area. Of course, that was a Big Bend Panhandle area, but he would come over here. We used to fish St. George Island together when we were at Florida. We'd come down here and fish some. Anyway, I get a lot of memories when those guys signed those scholarships like that. So let's see. We want to talk about, we're talking about dedication and all. I want to give you a quick example of a young lady. We're always trying to get our young people to enjoy the great outdoors, and I think we do a pretty good job of it. But we can't reach all of them. And then some of them are just so busy. I was talking to one of my students yesterday. Her name is Nikki Yowd. She's a senior. And I was asking her, has she done anything outdoors lately? She said, Coach, I just don't have time. I said, well, what's your schedule? And she had just signed talking about scholarship, she signed a gymnastics scholarship to the University of Iowa. That's big time. Iowa's an elite program in gymnastics, so that tells you how good she is. And a sweet girl. She said, I have to drive to Dothan every day after school to practice gymnastics. Folks, she leaves Mosley and drives to Dothan. She makes a 7-hour trip every day after school, 5 days a week. And that's dedication and determination. And, you know, I thought myself driving this morning, if I ever had a company, I would hire somebody like her with the dedication and all she has. But sometimes my point is these young people really don't have time at this point in time in their life, but they still love to do it. She loves the class, and she wants to get time to do it. But anyway, I just wanted to bring up that example of how some of our young people are really hard-working, dedicated people to do something like that. Okay, let's take this break and we'll be right back. All right, welcome back. Now, the FWC will be having their meeting in February down in Tampa on February 12th and 13th. And one of the things, they of course, have a long agenda. It's a 2-day meeting, as always. But one of the things they're going to talk about is going to affect us will be that they're going to set the red snapper season, it looks like. And from all indications, it looks pretty close to what they had last year. So hopefully we'll hear something soon from the FWC on the red snapper season for our Gulf area. Okay, also, I got a quick little 3-minute video. We'll talk about, you know, all the different things to do in wildlife photography, the camping, you know, other than hunting and fishing and all kinds of other things. And one of the things is wildlife viewing, just going out and looking at wildlife. It could be, of course, bird watchers have their own little thing, and you know, they enjoy that and it's fine, but I'm talking about wildlife in general. It could be raccoons or anything, but deer are so popular in this area, and going out and just watching them. And of course, the best places to go are right here or the state parks. San Andreas State Park, you know, we had so many pictures taken of that one big buck out there. We call him Tom. But also St. Joe State Park. You can go out down there, and this is a little 3-minute video from just going down there. And I would encourage you, a lot of times you just stay in your car, you ease along, sometimes just stop, and they won't pay you, and you take your camera. That's what we did with this. And at the end, see if you see a gator. There's so many things in the state park that's natural. So I'd encourage you to all the state parks to go through there. And this wildlife view, you want to be really, 2 things, be really quiet and have some binoculars with you, because you can see things back behind those trees and all that normally a lot of folks can't see with your naked eye and all. So the top places, of course, go ahead to St. Andrews State Park. And the St. George Island now, you'll see a lot of water stuff. You won't see a lot of deer down there at St. George Island State Park. And then Terrell State Park, you can see some deer up there, some great trails to walk up there. And of course, I just mentioned down there at St. Joe on the peninsula there, they have a lot of deer. St. Joe State Park and St. Andrews State Park are very similar in what you can see. So, Jeff, let's go and roll this video in about 3 minutes, and we're going to come back. Before we do that, though, we got to do our famous Friday fishing forecast the next time. But right now, let's do our Tarpon Rock seafood drawing. Don't forget, enter this all year now. We're going to do some more giveaways. Congratulations to Ernie down there in Southport for winning the book yesterday. Now, this is going to be for $20 at Tarpon Rock Seafood, and the winner is Sean Pittman, Panama City Beach. Sean's a good fisherman himself. He probably don't need to fish. I bet he'll get some shrimp or oysters. He better won't get fish. Now, this is for the red snapper. Good job, Sean. He'll probably be fishing this weekend. And Melissa Dilly, you win the red snapper. Good job, Melissa. I know she'll enjoy that. It's funny, I know a lot of these folks in here, and I appreciate it, but y'all, we can enter all year now, and we're going to do this every Friday. So let's go ahead and, Jeff, and roll this video, and we'll be right back with our famous Friday fishing forecast. All right, welcome back, folks. The famous Friday fishing forecast brought to us by Tarpon Dog Seafood. If you can't catch one, go down there and buy one, but enjoy the fish. It's real healthy. Now, we're looking at this week. Overall, the fish just didn't cooperate. You just heard the report earlier from the Panama City Beach Pier. Has not been a good week down there. But I'm going to go to Choctaw Bay now. We'll start with Choctaw Bay. We're going to start on the west end and work our way eastwardly. Now, the reports I get are coming from very reliable sources, but they did catch a few trout, and they caught them on DOA, and they said the bridges over there are holding sheephead. He didn't say they started catching them, but they're holding sheephead, and it's very similar to what we just heard at the pier. The trout now that they caught, they're about in 7 feet of water and about closer to drop-offs. And one trip, they caught some Spanish there on a bubble rig, but the trout they're catching on grubs and DOA, all right? Now, let's go over here to Panama City, and the hottest place in this whole area to fish, of course, literally speaking, will be the Steam Plant Canal. And this is it right here. We've talked about it before, but again, it's worth mentioning because basically what goes on now, they bring the water through here. I know a lot of these guys who work at this plant, they bring the water through here, put them in a turbine, and of course get the steam, and then the steam, of course, turns everything and generates electricity. But discharge, what's important to outdoorsmen, comes down this man-made canal and empties in a Warren Bayou. Now, let's zoom in. People want to know, where do you go up there? First of all, you can only go so far, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and zoom on in. And you can see, let's start there, come in from Warren Bayou, all right? And you go up through here. Now, the biggest thing is to be quiet. Don't just go roaring up here. Now, on weekends, it's going to be crowded. Okay, come on through here. Of course, you're going to have to stop right here. That's across the road, just has big culverts here. You can't go any further. And some people like to fish this area. Let's zoom in on this area. Okay. Right here, I just sort of came out on it, so we're going to come back in on it. Now, it's only about 3 feet deep in most of this area right here. There's a deep hole there, and a lot of different fish can be caught up there. And they're just warming themselves. They're going to be all up through here. But if you'll notice, going back down here, a couple of spots that are really good. You got a couple little creeks coming through here that empties into a natural creeks that are not man-made. This area right here. Okay, see where it starts way back in here, goes down in here. Excellent fishing in this area. So the Steam Plant Canal, on through February. Remember, you cannot keep them. Of course, some people like to come on out here in Warren Bayou and fish this area here. And this is some good fishing right in here. And there's a creek there, there's a little deep channel right there. Okay, so that's the best bet if you want to just take some kids up there or you just want to go catch and release some fish. All right, there in Panama City. In the bay now, the trout are clustered. I got some reports. They did catch some. They're clustered in groups now, and they're hanging close to these drop-offs. And while they're in these cold mornings we've had, like some of the mornings this week, they'll get up in their sun and warm up and then drop back into those holes there. But they're all clustered up. So once you find them, you're going to be in good shape and catch a lot of them. And while they're catching them on the Steam Plant Canal, of course, live mullet. If you want to catch a big gator trout, it's live mullet. Okay, it's going to be hard to fool them with anything. That's why they got to be so big, because they're not going to go for artificials. You can catch artificials. You can catch a lot of fish with artificials, but they're going to be really big. Also, a live shrimp is good, but fish quietly. Okay, let's see. St. Joe, Captain Blair Morgan talked about deer hunting wrapping up, and it's Spanish, or they're already getting ready for Spanish down there. Mexico Beach. Mitch Coben sent a good report in from Florida Days Adventures. The water temperature dropped to 52. He said the flounder bite is still good in 45 to 60 foot of water on cut bait. Sea bass on squid is really good. But he said the whiting bite is slowed down due to the colder temperatures, both in the canal and on the jetties. And I've heard that same report on Cape San Blas. The whiting bite did slow down this week. All right, so that's a pretty good a report. Make sure you can check our website and get all the times here. I didn't read everything on here, but that's up to date, a good report from very qualified people who send this report in. So I want to thank all of them on the Panhandle Outdoors team. Okay, so if you get a chance, we don't know what the weather's going to do. It might be a little rainy, but if you get a chance to get outdoors and enjoy it. Remember, deer season closed on public land, but it's still open on private land. But we're right on the verge. February is a good month for sheephead, so remember that this weekend. Going to wrap up this week on Panhandle Outdoors. Thank you all so much for watching the show. You do something good for somebody. You have a great weekend. Go catch some fish. God bless.
Thanks for joining us for Panhandle Outdoors with Winston Chester. Panhandle Outdoors features hunting, fishing, and other activities and information to help you enjoy the great outdoors. Join us next time for Panhandle Outdoors.